5.
Good afternoon, good morning. Where are you? I never know with that timing thing. It's never consistent. It's never hit the button and it's 5 seconds or whatever. It's never consistent. But anyway, hello everyone. The drone looks like a frog. Oh, you're talking about what is the one that looks like a frog? I forgot what's his name. You saw it. You met him, Ian. Anzu. That's it. Hello, Johnny. Hello, Stephen. Hello, Nord. Hello. Well, no, hello, Stephen. But hang on, but you're there. Well, here we are again, and let's kick off with Stephen and his learnings, or rather his lack of learnings, or not his lack of learnings, but someone else's lack of learnings.
Yeah.
Tell me. Oh, that thumbnail. Oh, yeah. It also looks. Geez, that's not my fault. That's Stephen's fault.
I made the thumbnail and sent it. So many people have commented that it looks like me. I didn't mean that to look like me. It was just generated. So I have nothing to do with that. But
it looks like your much younger brother.
It's my younger brother.
Well, if that is you, then you must be very tiny, or that Mavic or whatever it is truly enormous. Must be one reason or another. So you've been doing some commercial flying, and you've been doing commercial formation flying this week.
So as I'm sure many of the viewers have been reading the article that you posted yesterday on SUAS News. I had this incident in London where I was flying an Inspire. I was capturing some. I hate the word cinematic, but I was capturing some really, really, really good footage for a few artists that were playing in London, and obviously I was keeping my eye on the drone, obviously as you do. And I happened to notice which I thought was a bird, which was chasing the drone that I was flying, and I just happened to say, "Oh, there's a bird chasing the drone." And then when I looked up again and seen the bird was still chasing it, it actually was a DJI Flip. So I was like, "Oh, that's interesting," because this is a very, very highly, let's say, restricted airspace, and nobody should be flying there. And of course, we did have permission to fly there. So this person did not have permission to fly there, of course, because we know everyone who should be flying there because we work with the authorities. And so I had to basically try to work around this drone that was actually chasing me. Obviously, they thought it was cool to see a drone, obviously a bigger drone flying, and thought they would come to get a closer look. But from my perspective, it was very, very off-putting. It was a real, it was a real interference, because I couldn't, I was having trouble concentrating on what I was doing. And I had a very short space of time to do what I was doing. And of course, then I was thinking that, of course, this is not going to work, and I'm not going to get the footage that I need to get during the certain act that I was doing. But being the professional that I was, I did manage to get it. But I did inform the authorities, and they went looking for the person, but they couldn't find them. But it really just goes to show that someone can just go and buy a drone that day in Argos or whatever shop it is that they have, and then put up the drone and not have any knowledge. And it is really down to the knowledge, it's down to the education. I think where we are right now, you can pile as much legislation as you want on any country, for the drone, for the actual drone community. It'll make no difference, because if people don't have the education, don't understand, they will fly anyway.
It's worth knowing as well, Stephen.
Was that
in London? You get a lot of tourists flying as well, and obviously they come along in London and go, "I'll pop them join up," and they'll know that with the laws as they are, they shouldn't be doing. And they're like, "I don't care. I'm on holiday. The chances of me being done are virtually zero." Because when the police do catch them, they go on my tourist, but they always go, "Oh yeah, fair dues, mate. I'll let them off anyway." So that doesn't happen here in Finland. If you put your drone up and you say you're a tourist, they will still slap you with a fine. I've seen this many times, and you can claim that you can have the most foreign accent or whatever, not speak English or whatever, you'll still get a fine.
Even Scotsman.
Yes, yeah, Chris. I don't think it was you, Chris. It's okay. It's good. But yeah, it really just really affirms that, you know, piling on all this legislation, it makes no difference whatsoever, because people will fly, and it's those that are flying that have permission that are going to suffer for this. And I did suffer a little bit, I have to say.
Are you better now? Have you recovered?
I'm fine, Bruce. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Should
we do a GoFundMe or what?
Go flying, more like.
But it's true, because one of the problems we have with regulators is that they come up with rules, but they seldom spend much time explaining why the rule is there and the repercussions for breaching that rule. So
Absolutely.
People just say, oh yeah, I can just do that, because they don't know what's going to happen if they break the rule and something goes wrong. So we need to have that education aspect, and it's far more than just letting people know a regulation exists. It is allowing them to understand why a regulation exists. But half the time I think they don't try and do that, because some of these regulations shouldn't exist in the first place.
I totally agree with you. Yeah.
To be fair, I mean, if you do see an Inspire flying, you do think that's a really interesting antique. So
I was going to say that earlier, but I thought I wouldn't be so cruel. But
it wasn't Inspire 2. It wasn't the Inspire. It was an Inspire 2. It was obviously a little bit older and whatnot, but it still does the job.
Is that the one you drop the drugs in the prison, or?
Well, yes, it's got to be done by the end. Yeah. Well, that's the thing that's reared its ugly head, but we'll come back to that. Let's keep going down this road. Well, it was a bit too early to segue, so I shouldn't have said that, because really it just boils down to education, doesn't it? Education.
And that's why I think that, we have discussed this many times, and of course I know that I do have your support, Gary, when it comes to this, because you are. Because you've always actually agreed with me, and I think that it's and I actually put this onto our Finnish WhatsApp group last night as well. I posted the article on the Finnish WhatsApp group, which is the Finnish professional WhatsApp group that we have here, and it sparked a massive debate. Of course, 99% of the people were actually supporting me on this, but there was a couple who were going, "No, we have to have regulation." But why? People will just fly, and it makes no difference whatsoever. So I do think that when you buy a drone, and this, I'm going to be a little bit controversial here, but should it really be as easy to buy a drone as it really is right now? Should it be as easy? Should there not be tighter screws being held?
Well, that was the FAA did want to have registration at purchase, and they did right back in the day. That's the way they wanted it to go. I don't know. Let me counter that a little bit. Well, in a bit of a naughty way. So oldest boys are here across from England. Youngest boys are obviously still here as well, but it's school holidays, so we went down to the aquarium in Durban, and there's an aircraft that's probably hit a drone, I should imagine. And what I thought was most interesting about that exhibition was they had this, the bad rap that sharks get, and I've just noticed there's reached sexual maturity, so that's probably got this one banned. But look, texting responsible for 6,000 deaths annually, falling televisions 41, falling at home 6,000, sharks 5, pens 100, toasters 700, which I think was one of Ian's factoids when he's been talking to people, and hot dogs 77. So of course I immediately thought of us in our world. So should there be registration? I don't know. That also is not going to stop it.
You can buy them secondhand, can't you? There's no checks when you buy secondhand, and stupid people will be stupid no matter what you do. So all you can really do is just say there are some people who will not be influenced by laws or licenses or restrictions. We just have to deal with that. And fortunately, in the case of drones, the damage and the problems they inflict are incredibly small compared to the actions of the vast majority. So let's not try and mop up the drink rings on the deck of on the bar of the Titanic while there's an iceberg coming through the wall.
But that's the big picture view of things, isn't it? That there's hardly any risk. But when you're at a proper grown-up event, shouldn't the proper grown-up event be doing something to mitigate the tiny risk that there is. And
yeah, but how many people in that concert were on drugs and had an overdose and died? I mean, there's so many dangers in life. We should deal with the real problems that take more lives, and accept that sometimes bad things happen. There's nothing we can do about it. We just have to take a teaspoon of cement, harden up, and deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, on that topic, I was doing this weekend. It was really hot in the UK, so I've got an air conditioning unit, a portable one, that's been sat under a cupboard for years. And every year I go, oh, should I get it out? And I go, oh, it'll only be, it's UK, it'll be a few days. I can't be asked. And it stays there. And it's got this hot this weekend. I thought, no, I've got to get the aircon out. So I get it out. And then the thing was, well, you need to put the pipe to it to some sort of outside source. I've got nothing to connect to. So then I'm like, I'm going to drill a hole through the wall. And then you've got to buy a core drill. So I got that. So I asked my mate, he says, oh, you need to get one of these bits. So I bought it. What he didn't tell me is, and this again just goes on to anything you do in life can create accidents. If you're doing a core drill through your wall and you don't have a clutch on your drill, it will snap both of your wrists and send you flying. So you can do yourself an incredibly serious injury just with stuff around your house. And I did think about my mate. I thought, that is the one fact. When he told me all of this, you should have told me first, because I didn't know whether my drill did or didn't. And thankfully, I bought a decent enough one when I checked it that it has a safety clutch. But yeah, worth knowing, if you've got an SDS drill, it won't necessarily have a safety clutch. So
I just opened my window and put the pipe out the window. I'm not drilling holes.
That's what I do.
Yeah, but then you've got to seal off the rest of the window, so it's a real faff.
But I'm surprised you. I'm surprised you weren't very aware, of course, his famous training video on this very subject.
Seriously, I've not seen this one, but yeah, that is what happens.
So you haven't been through the training process, plainly.
No, exactly. You say.
Yes.
I'll go down with Jones. What I'd always be in favour of, and this is the kind of thing that annoys me, we don't think about. Instead of banning things straight off or making them really difficult, or especially around the airports when they put the boundaries out without discussing with anyone, it's like, why can't we set drones when you buy them as standards? For example, you set the height limit at 200 foot or something. You know, you do it lower down where it's less of a race, and then you essentially unlock it after you've gone through some online training, for example, which I know DJI were kind of doing, where you to do some little questionnaire, but they made it so noddy and simple, you really couldn't fail it, which kind of then defeated the whole point of it being there. But I do think that things like that, even if you don't put it in the drone, if you have your legislation, that where it gradually, you know, things, again, when we've talked about the Bruce is lucky enough to have in New Zealand, where you've got the shielded operation or whatever it's called, that it takes account of what's around you. But we always just seem to have very hard and fast rules that don't fit everything. But I do think, you know, in a lot of cases, especially when you're starting off, and for a lot of use cases, you don't need to go up to 400 foot. I mean, if you're just getting a drone because you want to check your roof on your house and stuff, you know, it can be far lower down. So I don't understand why we don't just have a bit almost staggered rules, or, you know, something along those lines.
But I mean, if you have these hard areas that you do have in London, so they're very hard areas, which I'm sure for you know, many people, I mean, you know, it is a no-brainer that you can't fly there. But you know, I was surprised.
It's the act of taking quite an expensive bit of kit into an. Well, I suppose it's because I'll start, so I'll finish. It's the act you're flying a quite expensive bit of kit over something, and you know, it doesn't take much imagination to work out that if it goes wrong, you won't be able to grab it out of the air and take it out, and then you've lost your physically expensive piece of kit. You know, 3 or 4 people down the road. Not that you've hit someone and hurt them, but you know, or it might fly away due to something that you don't know. It's just, what am I trying to say? I don't know. So I shouldn't start saying it. It's just, it shows a massive trust in the kit, doesn't it, for one? And no thinking, as we know. But
and we know with DJI that, of course, it is reliable, and we know it's reliable, and the chances are very slim of that. but you don't, I mean, for someone who is obviously inexperienced and if they have a flip, it's probably their first drone. It's probably their first, their first few times at flying, and when they see
their first mistake.
That's his first mistake, of course. And there's nothing wrong with mistakes, because we all make mistakes, of course, but of course that was.
Well, Bruce doesn't. We know Bruce
speak
doesn't.
for yourself.
I mean, speak for yourself, exactly. Yeah,
yeah. But it's not the best thing to be flying that size of drone and then to have that one shadowing you in a sense. It's not really.
But the thing is that we've already mitigated a lot of these risks, because now everyone's flying sub 250s, and they pose a far lesser risk to people on the ground, to things in the air, to whatever. The problem is when you get someone flying an old, antiquated, outdated drone that's really big and heavy. If the little drone crashes into it, it could fall on someone's head and kill them.
I'm pretty sure if a DJI flip hit an Inspire, I think the Inspire would follow this guy. I'm pretty sure.
That's right. But you weren't flying over people. If it fell, you were always in a position where if it fell, there was no risk to anyone,
there was
right?
no risk at all, of course not.
Yeah, So the total risk of the scenario is pretty damn low. It's inconvenient because you have to have your two eyes working instead of one, but it's still, it's not a major risk to public safety in the way that someone whizzing through the crowd on an e-bike is.
True. But I was making sure, I was actually trying to make sure that I didn't go, over the crowd, because where I was flying, I was trying to keep my judgment that I was behind the crowd, I
just had an idea. We can solve this. All visual observers must carry a slingshot.
There you go.
Big spear. Well, it was interesting you mentioned training, because this job came up this week, and the thing that I liked about it was, do you hold a BMFAB? And that is a really good qualification, because it would speak to, look out, Chris Cochrane's still here. It would never have RID. Well, quite, it won't. But if it's DJI, Aeroscope would have seen it, and you'd have thought a venue, because this was a venue, a big venue, would have had Aeroscope, at very least, which is going to segue into one.
They did not have Aeroscope. I know that.
Yeah. But that job, liking that folks have BMFAB, that is a better qualification than most, I think, and LMA certificates and things like that. That really shows experience, and I think we personally
almost as good as a membership of RPAS UK.
It is, It's not, and obviously not as good. I mean, plainly, it couldn't be as good as that. But it's getting on for it. So that's very cool, and I'm glad that people are doing that sort of thing. And that's the sort of experience I'd be looking for if I had to employ somebody. But I crash them myself, so I don't need to do that. Well, that's right. So shall we segue with that? So having to have the counter EIS stuff, Ian's put a video in here that I'm going to add to the stage now. Because,
for the first time.
This is becoming a problem.
Filmed by Newsnight, delivering a large package to HMP Wandsworth in South London last month. This was filmed at 3:30 in the morning behind the Category B men's prison, which houses sex offenders and terrorists. As you can see, the drone is carrying a long package held on a string. It's dropped inside the prison walls and then flies off. The government told us it is taking action, with £10 million being spent on anti-drone measures, but wouldn't comment on the footage we filmed.
All you need is a BBC reporter, the perfect anti-drone solution. Just hire one to sit outside your prison with a camera.
The nice thing I liked about this, with what the Newsnight had done there without even realising it, was demonstrate that had there been a drone at Garwick, how easy it would have been to film. Because there you've got it, it's 3 a.m. in the morning. It's got telephoto on it as well, which would be even more difficult to track something, and it's been an absolute breeze. And as we have seen, if you're using a drone for nefarious purposes, you don't have lights on it, which we all keep saying. And for some reason, the entire of the United States Air Force, the entire of the RAF, and the entire of every police service around the globe seems oblivious to the fact that drones don't have lights on when they're being nefarious, and even when they're not being nefarious, they have low power LEDs that can't be seen at distance. So yes, I just thought it's slightly amusing that the BBC has, for once, got evidence with the video, but they still haven't thought, oh yeah, maybe we should have had some at Gatwick if there actually was some there.
Yeah. It's really, well, obviously they were dropping that bag into a yard or something, but windows would be nice at prisons. Paying prison warders a good salary would be good, because they're still the hashtag #1 reason stuff gets in there. They really are. So it's drone guns, isn't it? That's what they're spending the money on. So somebody's got to be stood there looking, manning the turret.
Spending at the moment on net, but the trouble was, and if you're in the UK, for people here in the UK, it's worth watching on an iPlayer, and it's even worth people considering a complaint, because the BBC is supposed to be impartial and balanced. And while this wasn't a bad piece in the whole scheme of drones pieces, because at least it's got a genuine video of something happening and so on, it didn't have anyone from a drone or counter-drone background on it. It was just people from a prison or government background. So they didn't really deal with all those kind of issues. So the whole narrative is it's drones, without saying, oh, hang on a minute, where there is a problem with drones, these tend to be... Because I've seen reports for these prisons. So these prisons, where they have a drone problem, have generally a wide range of problems, including broken CCTV, demoralised, poorly trained staff, a lot that are probably on the take. The popularity of drones for prisons came in, allegedly from people I have heard, that the drones were undercutting the prison officers, and that's why they were coming in with the stuff instead of the guards. So it's like the picture is more complex than it's being admitted to, and that frustrates me that full conversation isn't had. And also the fact that the legislation that was brought in that's making every commercial operator's life harder, where it takes up to 28 days to get permission to fly at near a prison. And that we all knew that was never going to stop the criminality. And it's not like it's not even made it any better, because they're saying, oh, well, this is the worst thing as well, drone sightings. Now, we always know when it's sightings that helicopters flying over at night, Starlink, particularly Bright Planet that day, there won't be all just drones. There will be people making misidentifications and logging them as drones. So the figure will just keep going higher and higher and higher. And they're going, more taxpayers' money, more taxpayers' money, more taxpayers' money. And in fact, you have the guy there from the Prison Governors Association still talking about, and then the BBC were presenting about the countermeasures. And what he was saying, it was kind of acknowledging the countermeasures would be defeated, but it was more of, but as long as you keep funding us so we can then... we can keep this technological fight going. That's fine. I'm like, no, it isn't fine. That isn't good taxpayers' money. We shouldn't be buying jammers that will get defeated and then say, oh, can we get another jammer that defeats the mitigation that's there? Because for a long time, you won't have any capability in place, and you've got all that expense. You should just do as they are doing, but need to continue to do, is put in the physical measures, arrange the purchasing at national level to get it as cheap as you can. And also, it frustrated me that there was no discussion about the prison in Scotland that had simply said, you know what, we're a prison, we should have decent bars on the window kind of thing, and stopped drones, 6 months, and they didn't have a single delivery, and that's still ongoing. So I'm assuming it's still being successful. So that it might just be that's a more modern prison, it's easier to do there, but there just hasn't been any of that public discussion and openness.
Haven't you seen the de-drone propaganda video they put out years ago where they lower a gun down by a rope from a drone and the prisoner reaches out of the window and grabs it and pulls it in? That's probably what happened there.
Well, the
happens a lot.
To be honest, it did smack to me that someone in the counter-drone industry is pushing some of this, because it was not just that. They're going, but we could have a drone and it's going to be carrying prisoners up out of the prison. And it's like, technically, while that's technically possible, it's very, very unlikely, because you'd have to be doing lots of testing with it. You genuinely risk killing the person that you're trying to get out of there which kind of defeats the whole purpose of trying to get them out of there. So
I don't think any escape is safe.
What's that?
I don't think many escapes are a safe option, are they?
No, well, that's your least safe option. Let's face it. So the truth of the matter is, if you're going to go to those lands, you're just, it's probably, I'd argue, it's easier to think that, to get a helicopter arranged, and even if he's not on your side, you just pull a gun on the pilot and say you're doing this, and we'll release you afterwards.
That's what they do. We've seen it.
Yeah, that's happened. Yeah.
How do you think I got out?
Mr. Yeah, there you go. In a similar sort of vein-ish, the MOD put out a call, and they're going to have a counter drone sort of festival. Come and do this thing. And that fellow we all know in Australia said he said, "I'll tell you what a real test would be. It's first person to put a flag, their nationality's flag on Buckingham Palace wins." And it's like, yep, that would be a
challenge
really
accepted.
Challenge accepted. Yeah, it's a very tricky one, the counter thing, isn't it? And I think identifying signals and trying to then shoot it down via RF and stuff like that is a problem. I can see that if you have a good detection system from which you can then find other ways to mitigate or find the operator, then maybe that's valuable.
Well, domestic terrorist attacks with drones have been such a big problem to date. We need to be ready.
Yeah. you and your sensible reality. Well, yeah, that's the trouble, is you can sell that all day long, can't you? You really can sell that whole idea that it's
just put some signs up, no drones. That's going to be equally as effective.
Yeah, you'll just chuck those signs at them. Now, let me segue again. RID won't fix. Oh, Sparky said RID won't fix it. My word, I'm afraid you should know now, Spike. RID fixes everything, absolutely everything. Talking about fixing things, see, I tried to segue there, but now this has taken too long to appear. If that had swung up, then that would have been good. So we've all seen the video, and it's the great gold rush now. The time is now. This is the time that we can all set up little companies and make an absolute fortune. And of course, they used an audio track in this video of Bring On the American Drones that he wasn't allowed to use. But I'm sure we've all seen that video. Now,
rules for thee, but not for me.
Sorry, mate.
Rules for thee, but not for me.
Oh, but not for me. Yeah, yeah. Well, yes, yeah. And I wonder how many times YouTube pulled it down. But part of what they've done, and AVSI, I'm not going to bother getting that out. But again, our favourite Australian made this point that they want to take. It back to NDAA 2020 section 848. Now, there are a lot of platforms back then that were a little bit more Chinese than perhaps the newer version 5 years later likes. And this will, if this is true, this will allow the President's son's company to get away with having the Chinese parts they've got in their autopilots. So I don't know, bit tinfoil hat, I know, but I wonder if that's why, and I wonder if that's an unintended consequence or a deliberate consequence.
Do you think that they've actually used their brain when it comes to this?
Well, and the other part of this, which I should have mentioned, is that Blue and stuff, NDA stuff, was handled by the Defence Innovation Unit, the DIU, and that's moved over to the people that also handle copyright protection. Isn't that right?
No, it's the DCMA, not the DMCA. It's a different organisation.
Oh, it's is it? Oh, I thought it was I thought it was a copyright.
No,
very similar. Yeah, no, I know. So it's been handed over to another group who's already spent quite a chunk of money of that money that was mentioned. So they're going to get through it quickly, but I just think it's going to be a complete haulix. But of course, people are jumping up and down with glee, thinking they're going to become millionaires very, very quickly over this.
it's the PricewaterhouseCooper reports all over again, isn't it?
Well, do you see the one on what was it, medical drones or something? It was going to be $1 billion or something very soon. The proposed size of that market, everything's big in America, except
absolutely.
He's small.
Hey, steady on. There's always a reason to have us demonetized. That would be a good one. Yeah. But the idea that some bloke said, "Oh no, we must now build 50 million drones." Well, that's great, but that's 200 million motors. How are they going to suddenly be in the world? Even if you make 1 million of a thing, imagine a million.
AliExpress has a warehouse in America.
AliExpress has a warehouse in America.
I reiterate when I said, I think someone has not used their brain here. It's
a big assumption that they've got a brain.
I know. Someone has used it. Yeah. Okay. I don't know.
My conspiracy head tells me this is a workaround around the DIU. Any restrictions or actually oversight into a group of people that have no clue and have been given the go ahead to. They've already spent it on some AI companies a load of money on stuff today. I know it's billions of dollars, but watch how defense primes make those billions disappear. Marvel at how quickly they can shrink them down. I don't see it, and you can imagine they're going to be take 6 months to order the coffee and biscuits, and then they're going to have 6 months to make the furniture and work out where the furniture is going to be for the meetings, and then there'll be a further 6 months for them to actually have the meetings. So I can see nothing happening in 18 months, but everybody jumped on. There's our drone. This is our bit. That's our motor. That's our arm. We're proud to be part of the new American. It's like, oh, am I being too cynical? I'm ranting on too much, and you are chipping in.
I don't think so. It definitely smells like a rat. I tend to find it being more embarrassing than anything, to be honest with you. I thought that video was that AI? Was it all AI?
No,
it wasn't. Because
it was done. I know some of the people that were there, so it was done.
In America, even reality is synthetic now.
Well, yeah, it's.
I see a lot of anti-American sentiment here. This isn't good.
Well, no, I don't mean to be anti-American by that. Anybody that says they're going to suddenly make 1 million drones, you think, well, really? Okay, Ukraine's done it, but they've done it in people's homes.
But did you see how many drones the UK has sent to Ukraine recently?
It's not many, is it?
In the headline, no, it was tens of thousands or something. I read.
I think it was 75,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
where'd they get them from? Where'd they come from?
They order them from China and they make them as Estonia and Latvia. No, they do. They do. When they say they donate, it's just a bloody. It's as you said, it's an AliExpress order, just quite a big one. And they're assembled in Latvia, Estonia, and places like that. So. Yeah,
is it true that the new Radio Master transmitter has a rocket launcher on it?
Perhaps so.
Especially made for the theatre of war. That'd be handy. I shouldn't give them ideas.
Well, they're still apparently arresting people in China. They've been supplying both sides. There are still CEOs going on holidays. Not the same as the Russian method, the cup of tea or out the window method, but
is this for the benefit of the press, or is it actually a real thing?
It's a real thing. I've been told. Been told it's a real thing. They've actually arrested some CEOs. So that's partly why some of the equipment shortages are occurring.
This has been in Hong Kong, hasn't it? I think it's been in Hong Kong.
Yeah, Hong Kong. Yeah, in Hong Kong. So and that's probably why Trappy's. Probably. I don't think he's in Hong Kong at the minute. I don't know where he is, to be honest. I'm just pulling that out my arse saying that. But if I was him, I wouldn't be there now. It's just saying fibre optic cable manufacturers are having a ball right now. Yeah, absolutely.
I would hate to be the lady that has to untangle all that and rewind it.
Well, quite so. But again, I said on the marvelous LinkedIn, the place at which I argue the most, there must be mineable amounts of rare earth materials on the battlefield. There must be, not mineable, but
we're going to see a lot of cardigans and jerseys knitted out of fiber optic cable harvested from the fields.
Yeah. Oh dear, we shouldn't laugh about it. It's all pretty terrible, isn't it? Finally, I think the public are beginning to understand how big those great big flying wings are. But the press, just yesterday, I saw one article that said, "It's unbelievable how simple they are." It's like, yes, they're very, 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 very simple.
By the way, just a slight other topic. Has anyone noticed the price or the shares of? And I know some of the panel will laugh when I say this, but the price of Jobby has went up quite a lot, hasn't it? Jobby
well, since they announced a machine that's a cargo lifter, hydrogen powered, that they've been working on.
Yeah.
The actual thing that might make them money.
Yeah, as long as they can get the fusion reactor working.
Yeah. I think it's time to buy some Jobby shares.
Well, quite so. It's me. It's the thing. It's Discord. Yeah, it's me. It's me. It's coming out of the microphone for some reason. Well, there we are. And there we are. Oh, discuss the CIA electronic conspiracy. No, I haven't. I saw that. I did read that today myself, Simon. We haven't discussed that. Shall we go off and look for that and discuss that live? There it is, electronic conspiracy.
We should have Mark here because the way he pronounces conspicuity is really unique. You can't have really unique. It's unique.
All right, let's look at it together. So perhaps Simon could join in on the sci-fi. I ought to invite Simon in to do that. But let's go share screen, and this is it. Yes, it's arrived today. What size is this for the dear viewer? Let's expand that. This is going to be one that's going to go round and round and round and round and round and round, isn't it? In that, nobody ever agrees to all this, do they? For years, I guess HF. Surely not HF, Or is that human factors? Because even on HF, I've been receiving a little bit of HFDL, which is like ADSB, but HF for when aircraft are outside of
it should be human factors.
Radar range. Yeah, it'll be human factors, won't it? DO260, DO282, EVs. Oh, the magic words are in here. MLAT. God, surely not. We won't be needing that anymore. Not if you do it properly. Simon, tell me, is there a takeaway phrase in here?
So this is
ECU, and here we are. Yeah, we enable for yes, not RID. That's true. Air tactical and strategic deconfliction. Yeah, we kind of detect and avoid. Well, we can pretty much, if you're flying DJI or one of Phillips Cubes, you can do that now if the aircraft are properly equipped. So that's 140 knots.
What's from anti-aircraft?
On a Mode S.
ADSB.
It's extended squitter, yeah. And here we are, the 978 Rush. God, isn't it amazing that the UAvionics stuff is 282B and 282C? What a coincidence. How does that work? Yeah.
So what category of UAS does this apply to?
Specific category.
Yeah, not for all.
Validating oppositions through test and trials. What's that thing they say? Hearts and minds, songs, prayers, thoughts and prayers, isn't it? When they have those terrible shootings,
hopes and wishes,
hopes and wishes, something like that. Yeah. So it's testing. That's what they always say in England. It's always testing. Yeah. I don't know. Simon, what is your thought? That was very dull. Takeaway phrase. It's asking an opinion on stuff they haven't decided or tested or breasted. Yeah. I'll agree
asking
with that.
so that they can say, after extensive consultation, we have decided to do this.
Yes, like they did with the last thing, which they completely ignored the results of, which was RID. Yeah, I'm not going to lose any sleep over that. Just wonder what the decisions that have already been made have been made, because plainly they have.
And speaking of consultations, don't forget CAA has an open consultation on some of its new changes to drone rules, which I'll be doing a video on very shortly. And that's only 10 days away before that closes. So, Cliff, get your pen ready. You'll have to do a submission on that.
Absolutely, spoofing a gem is a real thing. No, that's true. Let's have a standard designed in the 1990s. Why not 40 years later roll it into a
different
thing?
Frequency, Gary. Yeah, they're bringing it into the 21st century.
You're right. Yes, silly me. You're absolutely right. They've gone down in frequency. Fantastic. Yes, of course.
UAS, which are smaller, will have to have a longer aerial. That's all it means.
Yeah. We're getting shortwave and Morse code. We'll use a Morse code one if we really make it, and that will sound better. Like having valves and things like that.
And if they use the frequency in the kilohertz, it'll work underwater. What could be better?
Well, it could be better. Probably sent to Tuckerroa Council. Now, when are we going to be seeing videos of you flying at the airfield again?
It'll be after October when all the votes are in and the new council is elected. Yeah.
And are you going to be live streaming the votes? Can we see the count live on YouTube or something like that?
I don't think many people will be interested in that.
No.
No.
I don't know. I think it's yeah, well, of course, I also meant to make earlier actually is you've been part of the training program to a great degree for an awful lot of people that are currently in the industry. So all these little bits of the training puzzle that somebody should just join up and enhance really, and tell the regulator that's what we want. Or is it time that the community actually got together and say, this is what we believe to be the minimum standards for flight, and getting out of Stephen's way and trying to get that communicated. Because whilst the risk was low, I agree, it's still not cool if you're trying to make $1.
If you can address a risk at a reasonable cost in terms of money or effort or resources, then it pays to do so. You've got to balance that investment to protection against the reward. And as anyone will say, just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it'll never happen, so you've got to address, if you can reasonably address a risk, then you must do so. But if it's unreasonable, if you've got to spend far more than you'll ever recover in terms of benefit, then you move on to things where those resources can be better applied. Absolutely. And education is the thing. I mean, Stephen got it, nailed it, absolutely nailed it. Education. And not education, as I said right at the beginning, it's not education so much about what the rule is, but what the ramifications of breaching that rule might be and the impact on you. You could lose your liberty, you could lose your house, whatever is involved if there are severe, But enforcement is another thing. We've got all these rules, no one enforces them. They're never enforced. So people just say, and even the regulators say, well, yes, we have risk-based enforcement in New Zealand. What that means is if you break the rule and there's no risk, they're not going to ping you for it. So what they're saying is it's okay to break the rule sometime if you're not endangering anyone, in which case it means you might as well just say to people, don't endanger people. Because if you're left with the ability to judge for yourself whether breaking that rule is safe or not, then what point is it in having a rule like that? You might just say, don't endanger people. But they won't do that because they've got to have control.
But it's also the same if you look at RID. So RID, which is, well, I think it's also in the States as well, obviously, but also in Europe. There's been no enforcement of RID. It hasn't been enforced. So I mean, you can look through all of the authorities and search through their PR material, and you won't find anyone saying, RID is coming, make sure you have RID. Do you have RID? Make sure you have RID. It's not there. It was quietly rolled out, and it was literally quietly rolled out. It was in a couple of documents, and it was really that if you were reading these documents that you raised the issue, and that's when it became a bit of a. But I mean, apart from that, you know, and we know that there are several operators out there who do not have RID, and who cares?
Look at America.
Nobody cares.
Look at the USA. RID's been a thing for ages. I haven't seen one single prosecution for someone flying without RID. I think the reason for that is, the reason why we've seen so few, if there's any prosecutions, is that all the DJI gear's got RID. They just turn it on with firmware, right? Modern DJI gear. So that's fine. And the people who are not flying DJI are probably not the problem. They're flying freestyle drones or model aircraft where they're not going to be attracting the attention of the regulators anyway, or the police or anyone like that.
But if they can't see you, they don't know.
Yeah. So why are you painting a target on your back? It makes no sense.
Yeah, I know, but but I mean, we do have like I've said in many times in previous shows here, is that you will have the professional side where they have to, and in many of the sites where we are flying, in fact, I was counting because I have a WhatsApp group for every site that we fly, because there are lots of drones flying, and I counted on one day, I think it was Thursday or Friday, there was nine drone operators flying in one site. 9 drone operators, so in each drone operators flying for about 1 hour. So that's, if you're looking at it, like a 7.5 hour day, there's drones flying at every point of the working day, really, that is a lot. But now I've made sure, I've said to them that make sure you have RID, make sure that you have your RID in there, because that we can see you, so that if we do have a problem, and if you don't announce your flight, if you don't tell us and someone goes there, and then of course it is a small risk, but it can happen because we're all flying around the same height, gathering the same amount of data. So it can happen. So there is a point to it in a certain way, but from the hobby side, no, I don't see it. It makes no difference if you're flying for fun.
It's coming. So in the last few minutes of this hour, Ian, do you want to tell us anything, or do you not want to tell us?
Have you got anything new in your backyard, Ian?
I think there was something to talk about in the drone world anyway that we're all aware of. That's slipped my mind, but there's definitely something else that's gone on. Oh yes, if you could do the link to Mick West, you need to mention the Wright Patterson incident. This is very. This will be really cool for people that watch in the US who always hear us going on about Gatwick and Lake and Heath, because this will be an American one for you. But it's also good for the whole industry to understand evidence that's just come out now from the US Freedom of Information Act. I hear people moaning about the US Freedom of Information Act, but I think it's actually quite nice. Gary's got me addicted to it, so we'll go on to that in a minute.
Well, I'll need to find his latest one. How do I get to his latest one? This is his early.
Click his name and then scroll down, because he won't have done too many.
Because he's done a few.
You did click his name.
Sorry?
I'll
just click his name.
Yeah. It's like helping an elderly parent.
Isn't it? Yes. Have you tried rebooting your mouse?
Yeah, good. This is someone here that's trying to black a UFO, and it's a ball on a fishing line, by the way. But anyway, we'll go past that. It just shows the chances there are.
If that's what you say, Ian. Looks like a UFO to me.
Exactly.
Here we go. This is the one.
That's the one. Yeah.
Click through to the link he's put there.
Oh yeah, I remember this. Yeah. Gosh.
So. Last November, December, in fact, into December. So while we had like the Lake and Heath panic here in the US, you decided to try and beat us. So you had the New Jersey and New York, and alongside this, there was a military base. I think Wright Patterson, is that the name of it? And they said we're being harassed by a load of drones.
Bad radio.
Someone probably said it was a swarm, because that's what normally happens. But someone did a Freedom of Information Act. And the good thing about the US, and which just shows what a problem it is with the UK.
You know where we are?
They have provided all the videos. So what Gary's going through here is this. These are your quadcopters. And this is the worst thing, is they actually had the witness statements. And the witnesses have recorded these videos and then said it was a quadcopter. They clearly can't see that it's a quadcopter. They have assumed. And this is the problem. People are writing things down and people are taking that as accurate. But it turns out that each and every one of these is a normal aircraft. And it's worth looking up. Midwest, he's actually created it's free. So it's on GitHub. It's free software that you can install. And you can put in ADSB data. You can put in videos and so on. And then you can use it to reproduce what went on at a point in time and what was going on in the sky. And then you can evaluate what was actually being seen. So he's actually used the tool here and explained each one. There's all the other people on there. So you're getting instant peer review.
Look at them, they're morphing in shape and size, and it's an orb, and it's a glowing sphere. The camera never lies.
No, you're right. You're right. And nor does the bottle of whiskey.
Link, so can you bang it in the chat?
Oh, surely. Yeah, okay. I'll do that right now.
They still don't teach healthy skepticism in schools, do they?
No. Oh, no. Goodness me.
This highlights some significant things. So here we've got US Air Force quite clearly unable to tell the difference between a drone and a manned aircraft, which is really just shows us what we all knew. But here you've got it documented for once.
It's quite surprising more airliners haven't been shot down, eh?
Well, this is the problem. This is what I was going to get on to, Bruce. Thank you for that. This is the concern, is because they're making all this drama about drones. We're already talking about weapons to fire at swarms. There's talk of equipping people on the ground with the laser weapons and that. And absolutely 100%, they're going to be shooting them at normal manned aviation. So we're going to actually potentially be at a point where there's a bigger threat of some testosterone oozing fool taking down an airline and causing a death than there is of an actual drone doing it. And the authorities really, really, really need to wake up. And this is why it's a concern with what's going on at Lakenheath, because they thought, well, US, they won't make a mistake. It's US Air Force, and this is literally weeks afterwards. They're doing precisely that. So it does throw into question now, especially what we're seeing with the MPAS, and this. It does suggest that actually there's a very good chance the UK right now has got 46 staff that the MOD police pursuing a drone that was never there, and the whole investigation could have cost more than Gatwick. So, in fact, that Midwest thing has already been cited in Freedom of Information as part of the public interest that I'm arguing back, of saying we've got proof positive now that the US Air Force is making mistakes, and there is a history of this happening. So that this isn't the first time they've done it. You know, there were lessons learned going all the way back to Langley, which was never proven to be drones. You know, they were saying, "Oh, it was," but what we're seeing now, very unlikely to be. But even back then, it was saying they didn't even have a checklist. So you don't even have a checklist that goes down. Are you seeing lights at night? Well, then it's probably not a drone. Can you hear aircraft noises? Do you still think it's a drone? Oh, you're probably a moron. You know, so you go down this little tick box where you should have first. And then he's supposed to have, like they said, get an app, which I think is called Attack. So it allows all the people on the base to have like this overall view of what's going on, and saying have to have thermal scope and normal spotting scopes and all this kind of thing. So, but all the lessons learned and haven't actually been implemented even to this day. So this is why it's just showing that authorities on the ground are as unreliable as any Karen, in a garden thinking she's seen a drone.
Well, the very famous American USAF drone incident, or UFO incident in the UK's Rendlesham Forest, where, of course, now a campsite is you know, it's embraced it, and it's got all the UFO stuff in it and all manner of things. So you can go and look for it. And in look, there's the base, and that's the memorial. Yeah, exactly. That's the very.
It's just a giant cover-up, isn't it?
It is a giant cover-up. Yeah, he's playing to hide things to hide there. So when you say they've got a history of it, they've got a history of it. Wasn't it the 1950s that one happened in? I think so. Oh look, there's look, there's an alien in the very. There's Superman's in the very chat here.
Looking at the portholes. Looking at things, people. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I know what the problem must be. They must be doing reruns of the X-Files on the bases. It's the only thing I can think of that explains this behavior.
But unfortunately, instead of calling things a UFO, because if you don't know what something is in the sky, it's got to be a drone now. There's no other explanation. It can't possibly be anything else. Mass hysteria events, isn't it? Right. I think. Have we run out of things to say?
No.
Oh, no. Oh, here we go.
He hasn't had a spoiler yet.
Oh, but wait, there's more.
We might as well have a look at the freedom of information, which I mentioned.
Oh, go on then. I didn't know if you wanted to talk about them or not.
He's using this one. I'm going to mention something in a moment, but let's just have a look at this first. So this is the one we've just been talking about, which this evidence we've just been chatting about will feed into. So if you want to show that one, go.
I am looking. Oh, gosh. That hasn't rendered very well. I will show you how this is rendered. It's not rendered well at all.
Still got half the fat on it.
Yes.
Oh, do a refresh then.
Oh, back to 1981.
Yeah.
Too many requests. Oh, they don't like you.
They're talking about you, Ian. Vexatious. You're vexatious, man.
Oh,
even the web browser knows.
Even, yeah, exactly. Even the website.
I'm giving another go. It's working for me, so it must be a thing from South Africa.
Well, it's a long way. It should open because it's downhill, so it should come quicker. All those bits.
Yeah, but it's winter. It takes a long time. It's cold.
It takes a long time. See if you can show it from there. I'll go again. No, it's not letting me. It's not letting me open it nicely.
Oh well, in that case, we shall. What shall we go on to next? A few things that have happened at the minute, so we might as well cover them. There was the case against the DFT for the emails they deleted about the Gatwick drone. An appeal was made to go to the upper tribunal. Unfortunately, today I got notification back that's been rejected, so they won't let us take it further. So the DFT have won that one, though it will not stop any others being pursued. So if anyone's thinking that will knock the suckers back, you're quite deluded. No, it won't. The fight goes on. So that one's done and dusted. And then to compound matters, in the evening, I then got a reply back from the CAA with a really long-running freedom of information that's gone to the ICO. And the CAA have even admitted that they may have deleted some data. They basically seem not to know what they do or don't have, which is quite concerning. Just bear with me a second. I'll just see if I can get us a screenshot of that, Gary, that you can show. Well,
we'll see now.
I have got it here. I will send you the link into the private chat.
Okay.
It's going downhill, so it should be fast.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not. Oh, here it comes. Eventually, I should have just shown you how long things take to arrive down there. Here we are. You couldn't make this up. This is the one.
String drying out.
It is. Yeah.
So if you click the image, and we shall see. So it's basically saying, oh yeah, NPCC being thrown under the bus again. So if anyone from the NPCC is watching, you are being under the bus continually in this reply, in fact. But he's basically saying, if anyone has sent us anything about drones doing anything illegal, if you've not sent it as a mandatory occurrence, we will reserve the right to just ignore it, delete it, etc. Even though we are the regulator and should care about what's going on in the world, unless you go through a process that can't be freedom of information, so you can't see it thereafter. Unless you go through and do that, we won't accept your data. Which I don't like the whole idea. If you go through a process that then makes outside freedom of information, or they argue it is, whether that's whether that would
sure or not.
Yeah, we would have to see. But this is just part of a reply where I'll have to absorb it more on another evening. But it just come across as just flim flam, word salad, just no real answers to anything that was being
business as usual.
That was really being asked. So it's just more kind of excuses and without any elaboration really on why. Just simple questions. I just want the freedom. I want to know where FRZ incursions by drones, the data you've got, who you've got it from, and just how many records. It's a simple request. And all they can say is we've got some from the NPCC, which I'd already told them that was it. That was the information I gave them. Now they've got them from plenty more other places than that. And for some reason, they just can't even establish that. So I'm increasingly of the view that the CAA as an organization is incapable of actually adhering to the Freedom of Information Act, i.e. it can't comply with the law, i.e. he's going to be breaking the law continually. It can't seem to do what is required by the Act, which is to find information within its own organisation and present that. And you quite clearly see here that if something gets deleted, they don't even believe they could even be aware of that or recover it. That's not a very good situation to be in. So this is United Kingdom 2025. It is peak public sector. It's quite depressing. And if you looked at all the other news in the UK, it's just you look at it all and you go, it all makes sense. It's all as bad.
I agree.
It does, Dudley, doesn't it? It really does. Cliff's saying he so wishes that the media would show this stuff. Surely breaking all this out would be a big story. Unfortunately not, I think, Cliff, because as Ian has just intimated, there's so much like this. And in the big scheme of things, this is kind of not even, I don't think it's anywhere near some of the worst stuff, which is terrible. Terrible for the drone industry, but there's so much. And
the media hates saying we were wrong. We fooled
yes.
you. Ha ha.
Anyway, so that brings me on to the final thing, which Gary has said to me, well, because I do the odd thing for SUAS News. I've done the odd article in the past and so on. And obviously, I'm on here very regularly now. It's my home away from home. So Gary sent me the SUAS News email so that I can do some investigation on behalf of SUAS News. So I have taken up the baton, and then I started doing the US, and I did the United States Air Force. I'm like, ooh. And the thing is that over there, you don't have like this single site to do it.
Created a monster.
Every single authority, you've got to find them individually. Everyone has their own completely unique system. Usually need you to log in. Some even need you to prove who you are, etc. So there's quite a few hurdles to jump through. But then I'm like, oh, this is all right. And then before you know it, I'm doing the American Secret Service. And then I'm doing Homeland Security and the FBI. And yes, there's going to be no stopping me now. So watch out.
Gary, get him his own domain. Okay.
Yeah, there's so many lists.
And check your backyard. Your backyard's probably full of cameras and bloody DIY stuff.
Yes, absolutely. I know. Yes, I have got the bamboo. But I haven't got the planters that he's got. But I have got the bamboo. Yeah, it's the American Freedom of Information thing's a bit weird in that if you're a member of the public, you have to pay to do them. But if you're a member of the press, so don't tell anybody it's us. It's US News. But if you're a member of the press, you get to have a go at them. But you only get a few of them. You don't get many goes at that.
This is the strange thing with it. Actually, I always thought it was a lot because I know Patrick's had issues with some, but it's hit and miss, and it can work out pretty good in that it can be as fast as it is in the UK. When the answer, as we've seen from the Midwest demonstration today, when the answer, they're doing it properly. They are giving the information. They are not dragging it out for years like they have with Gatwick, which is, it's so depressing when you see the difference, the freedom of information, how it's meant to be. And they just give you the information and boom, there, it's done and dusted. So when it works well in the US, but for the press, you allowed, it's 2 hours of search time and up to 100 documents being copied. Thereafter, they come back to you and say, it will cost this. So, as Patrick mentions, if it can end up being thousands of pounds if you want to get to some information, well, thousands of dollars if you want to get to some information. So that's the difference to the UK. The UK, it is free, and if it's too expensive, they just say bugger off. Where the US will say, yeah, you will get it, but you'll have to pay for it.
Same in New Zealand.
It's really thinking about keeping to very specific questions where it isn't going to get them a lot of time, and then you're going to get the data. So, but we will see what comes out of it. But I'm hoping, maybe by Christmas, by the time it comes round to the Gatwick anniversary again, who knows?
Christmas special.
We might have some US ones to talk about.
Join Ian as he flies his drone at Gatwick Airport.
Yes, absolutely. Live. Yeah. All manner of watch lists we're on now. Thanks, Ian. Thanks so much. Again, still, I think
get him his own domain.
Yeah. That's it. He's in it. He's in his shed, surrounded by bamboo. That's his domain. That is where he lives. That's his domain. Yeah. Look, we've gone over the hour, gentlemen.
Oh, no.
Before we go, any more? Going once, going twice. And Simon, hopefully we can have some sort of meetup at the RG Pilot Dev Conference in September or around the outsides of it. And that's in Yorkshire at is it Richmond? I think it's Richmond is the name of the place. So that would be first week of September, I think. So if you're around, then let's all go to the pub and have a beer if we're there. Otherwise, dear viewer, wherever you are in the world, look after yourselves, be careful. We'll see you again, 2100 Gin and Tonic next week. Look after yourselves out there. Bye-bye, everybody.